Sustainable innovation in fashion is essential. But should we be looking to massive fast fashion brands to bring the solutions? Or are their innovations actually just marketing tactics and greenwashing tools? Whether it's Prada's Re-Nylon or Nike's Space Hippie range, there's a real trend of brands bringing out these new innovative materials and collections that they are using to rebrand their businesses as being more sustainable. The problem is that usually these innovative materials are only used in a small section of their product range, with the rest of their stock continuing on as normal with the regular offenders such as polyester or leather. These solutions, however great they might be from a technological perspective, go no real meaningful way towards tackling the challenges within the fashion industry if they can't be scaled up. There are plenty of brands, for example, like Boohoo or Pretty Little Thing in the fast fashion space, who are coming out with these responsible or sustainable collections where they're using a small percentage of recycled materials or organic materials, for example, but then the rest of their range continues to be made using these virgin fabrics like polyester or nylon that are made using harmful chemicals and that are really energy intensive to produce. Then they'll promote that one collection with some generic marketing slogan like doing it for the future and like call it a day, as if that's enough. Job done. So that's one part of the story. The second part is that particularly luxury brands or brands that are focused on high performance products like activewear, for example, are putting their budget in terms of money, but also resources and creativity for innovation into projects that don't actually seem to be that meaningful or that valuable in terms of what humanity kind of needs right now. Oh, and that's on top of giving their CEOs insane bonuses as well. Let's take two recent examples. So I just made a video all about Adidas's new Adizero running shoe, which helped to break the women's marathon world record, but which is designed to fall apart after that one race. In running circles, the design of the shoe has been praised for being absolutely groundbreaking, but even at the $500 price point, it's been estimated that they will barely get back the money that they invested into creating it in the first place, and that's given that they are only selling about 1,000 pairs. Could that money have been better spent on something a bit more useful? If they have the money to create a single-use running shoe that's only going to be released to about 1,000 people, then maybe they have the money to pay the $11 million that is still owed to their garment workers from way back in the pandemic. A second example is that the Italian luxury clothing brand Prada is going to be making NASA's next spacesuit. In 2025, NASA's Artemis 3 mission will become the first to put a woman on the moon, and she's going to be doing it in designer style. So Prada's engineers will be working alongside Axiom Space to develop solutions for materials and design features that will protect astronauts due to what they've called Prada's technical expertise with raw materials, manufacturing techniques, and innovative design concepts. But instead of using all of that experience and knowledge to work on sustainability solutions or to rectify the pitiful 34 out of 100 score that they've got in the latest Fashion Transparency Index, for example, and putting more effort into ensuring that their workers are being paid a living wage, for example, they're working on spacesuits. With everything that's going on the planet right now, I just don't think that space exploration should really be such a priority on our list in terms of the amount of money that's being spent on it. For context, NASA is expected to spend between $20 to $30 billion on this new mission. My point is, what else could we have done with $30 billion? So there's the innovations that aren't actually scaled up, and then there's this idea that the time that is being spent on innovating is just going towards the wrong priorities. But then there's also a third aspect, which is the fact that when a lot of these brands talk about innovation or their groundbreaking latest whatever, it's very rarely focused on traceability, transparency, or ethics in any way. It's so much more common to see brands talking about a cool new material that they've made from some random plant substance than it is to see them actually going through their supply chain and tracing it from, for example, the cotton in the fields where it's grown to the customer's doorstep when it arrives. And that's probably because it's actually a lot harder. In this video I made about Primark, I showed all of the factories that Primark lists as being in their supply chain. And that doesn't actually even include, for example, the shops where all of these products end up, where they're actually sold to the customers. So when you consider the massive, intricate, kind of incomprehensible web that is a fast fashion or a major retailer's supply chain, it's not difficult to understand why they don't have visibility across all of it. And it's not difficult to understand either why they are not spending that sort of innovation budget on trying to understand it better, because it's just a bit harder than coming up with like a new recycled nylon. They're going with the easier option rather than tackling the bigger fish of traceability. So what companies are actually doing this right with the intent to scale their solutions to actually have an impact that will meet the size of the problems that we're facing? Good question. Good on You's The Needle Movers report, which was published in August 2023, details some of the brands that are actually innovating in really powerful and meaningful ways to drive change within the fashion industry. In it, they write that there is no shortage of bold ideas promising to revolutionize the industry, but hype and great marketing can only get startups so far. To stand the test of time, truly innovative companies need the added element of impact, and that this is an industry that needs real innovation, but too often what's described as innovative fails to make a meaningful impact on the biggest challenges, as we've just been talking about. Real innovation has to be commercially viable from both a technology and price standpoint. Innovators should have a clear roadmap to scale, i.e. how they intend to meet the price point that is required of them, depending on what they make, whether it's a machine or raw material. Let's look at a few examples of the businesses that have been featured in this awesome report. First up, there's a company called Eon, founded in 2017, which has been working on a digital ID that can be attached to materials and goods as they move through supply chains to tackle the fact that it's so hard to have visibility over a product's journey due to that complexity that we've discussed. This means that brands can track things like carbon emissions from creating their pieces, and they can be a lot more transparent with customers and share more detailed information. It's super cool. Another awesome innovation is all about recycling clothing. So currently only 1% of all of the clothing in the world is recycled into new clothing. And a massive part of that problem is the fact that a lot of the time our clothing is made from fiber blends, which are really hard to identify, separate, and then also to recycle. So for example, a t-shirt that is made from 100% cotton will be so much easier to recycle than one that's made from like 19% nylon, 51% viscose, and 30% cotton. I think that adds up to 100. So a company called Refibered, founded in 2020, is using unique recycling tech that combines hyperspectral imaging with AI to detect fiber composition and then separate and chemically recycle the fibers into new threads. And the end fiber is even 75% cheaper than other lower impact threads on the market, attempting to break down that accessibility barrier that often gets in the way of other businesses adopting innovations like this. Circularity in fashion is something that I'm really passionate about. So to see ventures like this is really, really cool. And it just backs up that thing that's often said about climate change, which is that the solutions, for the most part, already exist. They just need to be applied consistently and scaled up. And finally, let's look at something that's on the ethics side, because as I mentioned earlier, innovation is so often just about the materials rather than the people in the supply chain and how we can actually make supply chains work better for them. But there are great companies delivering innovations for garment workers too. Shimmy Technologies, for example, is an AI-powered training platform that upskills and reskills workers, giving them the knowledge that they need to transition into new roles and advance in their careers. So far, they've trained over 3,500 women around the world. And there are loads more companies doing cool things like this. If you want to check out some more of them, then head to the Needle Movers report by Good On You, which I will link in the description below. So to wrap all of this up, if you see a brand coming out with some innovative, groundbreaking, revolutionary new product or material or whatever, just take a look at whether they are planning to scale up that solution, if they're going to be applying it to their whole supply chain or all of their ranges, or what their plans are for that. Because groundbreaking, shiny new things without any intention to scale or to actually have a real impact on the fashion industry are just big red flags. If you want to find out more about some of the specific brands that I've mentioned in this video, then head straight to my brand roasts and raves playlist, where I dive deeper into specific brands and their sustainability impact and credentials. And if you enjoyed this video, then please do hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Until next time, stay kind and I'll see you later. Bye!